Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to attempt to try and make my own teapot water feature. I don't know if it's going to work out. Let's watch along and see what happens. And we got my little assistant today, little Luna, here to help and be a fantastic distraction. You are only such a distraction. Yes you are. So here are the things I've bought so far. I've got what's going to be the bottom pond, nice tall unit. I got some old teapots, some LED lights, the solar fountain, and some of these mitre fast bits which my husband has recommended me try using. So I'm going to give that a go as well. And we might have to pop to the garden centre again if none of these work, but we will soon see. We also have a post which I will show in a minute, and then obviously some post mix, and we'll have to get some of the flowers and bits of bobs, but I will show you all along the way. So my plan is to put the feature here, so it's right next to the swing chair, which also needs a bit of a clean, but hopefully make this corner just a little bit prettier because we're planning on changing this whole mess here to some raised vegetable beds. So this will be quite a pretty corner, hopefully, at the front of our property when it is done. We've also got the post fixed now, a post, and of course trusty spirit level to make sure this is straight and the teapots aren't going to fall off. This is my setup here. That's where I'm hoping it will go. Obviously the post go in the air, teacups trailing down, and hopefully water falling into the bucket. Should make a really pretty corner, but we'll soon find out. Now I've included my trusty husband here to help me because I'm post shoulder surgery and I cannot pick up a bag of this post fix. So he's going to be helping me to put this in this pot and make this beautiful design. I do think this is a two-man job because it's going to get quite confusing, the teapots. So one person's going to hold, one person's going to control the water. So here we go. Carpentry tips. Do follow along with Clayton Carpentry because he creates his own very helpful videos. So the post mix has been added and then we're going to wait until it's gone off and then fill the rest with compost for our flowers later on. Dropping in the compost to try and fill it to the top so we can put in our beautiful flowers. The post is nice and secure, so we're all ready to go. So the first thing we're going to try and do is put the first teapot here to try and work out if the pipe fits in, and then we can go downwards and try and get it to fall into the bottom. So let's see what happens. So I'd say, yeah, you need it to be able to pour. So
the next teapot.
First thing to be to secure this. We need to work out how to secure the teapot before we secure the pipe in. So we're going to glue the teapot with special carpentry stuff, which I will link below, to try and make this waterfall start. Hopefully it will hold the weight, but we'll soon find out. The first teapot is secured. We're hoping it stays. We've used 3 different things here. We've used this product here, Bond, this, and also this to make sure everything is completely strong and will hold the weight. We're now filling up this pot at the bottom just to start testing out if the water flows out so we can make an idea of where the next teapot's going to go, because obviously we want to make sure the water falls down. We've just put this clamp on here for now, mainly because I've got shoulder surgery and I can't hold it very well. So my husband's put that on just to make sure that he can actually let it dry in the right place. We're filling this up. We'll obviously make sure it's cleaner later on. And we'll fill this with stones and aquatic plants and all that kind of thing, just to make it really nice in there. As you can see at this point, we're just doing trial and error, so it won't look like it's the end. We're just trying to see what happens, what's possible, what isn't, because we've never done this before. So here we go, let's just see. So I've just covered it underwater. I can, I think, see water going up the pipe. I'm hoping I can hear it making a noise. And we will soon see. So, trial and error. Annoyingly, you might be able to see the water is getting up to just this level, but it can't go up. Can you see it's so close? But we're not getting high enough. So close, we just need to get just over this little bend. That's where the water level is getting to, but it's just not powerful enough to push the last 10 centimeters or so. So we're either going to raise this pot upwards and see what happens, or we're going to have to cut the post and lower down the whole thing. Let's see what happens. Good news! We've raised the pot by a few inches thanks to some timber. So we've got the first one working. We're just trying to do the second teacup here to continue the flow going down. So we've clamped the second one on just to make sure everything could go off again, just because I can't hold it right now. And we're going to wait 25 minutes or so just to make sure it's really secured before we go on to the next level. As you can see, it's all kind of been done there. And obviously there's ways to hide this in the future. Next plan is to do the other two teapots. The bottom one's going to be the most hardest, or the most difficult one, because we're going to try and get it to fall back into this pot down here, which is going to be quite tricky to do. But once we manage that, this will be filled with plants here, some aquatic plants, maybe some stones of some sort, trying to make that look a bit prettier. And the last step would be to run some solar lights around it, so that at night this also becomes a nice little feature to look at. So something you can enjoy in the day and at night time. And introducing Kiara to the channel. This is our 18-month-old Cocker Spaniel. Will not leave me alone, so she's here throughout the whole thing. Honey Kiara. He's a good girl. Yes, you are. We've actually put some clamps on here just so we can actually see what it would look like. Try and work out the angles. You can see it's all coming together. We just have to wait for it to dry. We don't want to rush this process. There's no point rushing. You don't want it falling off later on, especially when the weight of the water is going through. So this bit's really important. Just take your time. It should look fantastic at the end. I think another thing I might do is encourage some training plants to go up. Maybe put a bit of wire in at some point so that we can get some jasmine or something going up there, so it really fills it out. And then you get the flowers, the foliage, the water, and the solar lights. So it should look stunning at the end. Is that before I start trying to move everything around here, because we've got the problem with the pressure, and I don't want to buy a new pump. If I can buy a new pump, before I spend the extra money, I'm just going to try a few new things. First thing, I'm going to try pinching the top tube going in to see if we can actually restrict some of the water, see if that makes a difference, and we know it is too much water flow. The next thing we could do is to move the second point, this one, move him more of an angle, which is a bit of a pain because we've already glued him down, but if we move it down slightly, let gravity do more of the work and see if that works. So let's give that a go. Pinching. So it really is a fine tuning. I'm not too worried about the bottom two right now. It's just to make sure that the second one doesn't overflow. So as you can see here, the water's going in but trickling over the top and then causing so much of the water to spill in the plants below, or would do when the plants are there anyway. So we have to try and fix this as soon as possible. So I've changed the angle slightly, so this one is now more steep, and this seems to be working better now. So we're just going to have to bear that in mind going forward. If you do this yourself at home, this is the fiddly bit, guys. There's no doubt about it. This is going to take most of the time more than anything else. Everything else is very simple. Try and get these angles right. Obviously, we're using these just to kind of keep it still in the meantime. Cable ties could work as well, or anything you have at home. We're just trying to see what works out so we can actually kind of review it for you guys and show you the angles if needs be. We can measure out what we've got going on here just to help you out. So I think what we're going to do now is we're just going to let everything settle. And it's getting later in the afternoon, so we think what we'll do, let it dry overnight, just so everything's really, really nice and secure. And then tomorrow we start putting the plants in, little decoration to make sure it's all perfect. Get that away from me. And then I'll keep you guys informed. Hi guys, so we are back, day 2 of building this fountain. we've let it kind of set overnight, so to make sure everything's really, really secure. We've just been to the garden centre to get our fresh plants to put in here. And we're going to put this in and wrap the solar lights around it and just make sure everything works. Unfortunately, the garden centre we went to didn't have any aquatic plants, so we're probably going to do that either later today or tomorrow, depending on when we can do it with the kids, because any parents out there will know that you're going to find like a minute to do these things. But this is what it's looking like. So as you just heard my husband say, he's going to drill some more holes. So obviously, because there's a lot of water going into this basin here, in case any water falls in here, we want the water to be able to escape so we don't kill the plants. So we're going to drill a couple of holes at the back just to make sure it's drainage there. And also if it rains, we don't want everything to just completely block up there. So really important to have some holes because we have filled the post mix at the bottom. There is no way for water to escape right now. So we'll do that. We've turned the solar off just temporarily, which is why it's not flowing, just so we can do everything without getting soaked. Last thing we want to do is put all the flowers in and just get water all over us ourselves. So yes, follow along and we'll see how we go. So this is what it's looking like right now. And you can see it's kind of on its own little stilts. We will eventually make that look prettier, but to be honest, it's actually quite nice because it's quite rustic. I kind of quite like it. So we will put the pipe towards the back and secure it at some point as well to make it prettier. But for now, we just need to kind of finish the structure, drill some holes, probably put a little bit more compost in, put the flowers in, the solar lights, and just see what it's looking like from there. So obviously, we've been practicing. A lot of the water has actually fallen into the main pot there. So before we plant anything, we want to make sure it's not waterlogged. And it's just really important to get rid of this excess. As I said, we don't want to kill any of the flowers in the process. And the idea being that we are going to put in some viola and some ivy, and so the water will hopefully be, well, not the water, but all the sides and the holes in this pot will be hidden through the foliage going over the side. The plan is still to try and get some creeping Jenny in this pot down here, and just see how we can make it prettier. I think I'm going to put some bricks in there just to kind of weigh the pot down. Maybe put some stones in there as well. I don't really know at this point. That's going to come later. But at the same time, I don't really want to overdo it because I think the idea about this feature is that it's kind of rustic, whimsical. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're just trying to get an idea of something being country, and you don't want things to be absolutely perfect. You want that feel of that kind of warmth and comfort. So right, we're going to start wrapping the lights round. Let's see how we get on, shall we? Right, the lights are now up and down the post. We're just going down again just to get the last few bits filled. And then the solar is on. And then we just have to wait for tonight to see what it looks like. It's always a difficult bit. You do these things and you've got to wait and see if it's actually working. And unfortunately, obviously, with that problem with that, if the solar doesn't work the one day, you've got to carry on with the next day and the next day and the next day. So it's a job which requires patience, but it will definitely get there. And, it's working. I think it's looking very pretty. So, yeah. Let her go and start her off, shall we? It's going to move you back a bit so you actually get a better look of it joining. So like anything, it's going to give it a few seconds. So that's why we've made the drainage holes so the water can escape. And then almost down ever so slightly, you can see it is reaching the bottom bucket and circulating around. So it's been a few days since I was out here just letting the teapot really, really sit. It's been really, really hot. So to be honest with you, I did not want to come out here. But I've just added a few little things on. So I found this really cute B&M sign saying welcome. if I move over here, it had these little bits hanging. So I've actually cut those off because it was just too much. It was too much for the design. So I've cut those off and I've added a little robin, which I can show a close up of in a minute. It's really cute. Just the top. And then the plan is to do some work on the bottom bucket. I have not had much luck finding some plants for that. I've been to 3 garden centres already, but I will find some. I found some stones. I'm going to put that in there. Unfortunately, we're actually in a hose pipe ban right now, which makes everything a little bit trickier. Wouldn't be trickier, but I am only a few weeks post shoulder surgery, so lifting this arm is a little bit tricky, and watering cans are heavy, but we will get there. So I'm going to try and fill the bucket up with some stones and make it a little bit prettier. Hopefully, if I get a chance to find some cribbing Jenny or something to put in there, that'd be great. But that might have to be something I do in the future. I would like to plant some ivy or something if I can around the teapots just to make it look a bit more whimsical. And yes, we are nearly there. This is my robin. Isn't he cute? I'll put a little bit of birdseed or water or something up there just so the birds can actually use this as well. So it's all functional. Whoa, hitting the part at the bottom with the tripod. So yeah, this is where we're at. Very pretty. I've covered the solar panel for now so I can actually work on doing this. Obviously, it's hardly any water in it anyway, so it's not going to go around. So I will do that bit next. Here she is. I'm going all the way down and recirculates. We have a few holes here just for any extra water so it can come out. So we're not going to kill off the plants. It's just because when the water flow changes because of the sun, sometimes that pressure can change. We do have a little bit of water falling off the plants. It's not a big issue because they're not going to get too wet. So yes, there she is. Once this whole area is redesigned, this is going to be a little cute corner to sit and have morning coffee with. But how cute is that? Cost maybe £70 total. Kind of thing you couldn't buy yourself. And we tried to resource as many things we had lying around as we could as well, which is quite nice. But very cute. I'm very happy the way it's turned out. And the sound is actually, I'm not sure how it sounds on the microphone right now, but it's not hugely loud. It's just quite relaxing. So you can see the sun's going in slightly, so the pressure is slightly changing at the bottom. But obviously, if we don't want it running, we can turn the solar around. But on these lovely sunny summer days, why not? And there's solar lights for at night. I'll try and get a lovely shot of that tonight if I can. Those all light up and we can enjoy it.